Here is the recipe that I cook in this video. Feel free to screenshot, write it down, or copy from the description. Pretty much everyone, at least here in the American Midwest, knows how to do hamburgers on the grill, but cooking good hamburgers indoors, on the stovetop, can be a challenge, so hopefully I can help make the process a bit easier. One important thing for all burgers is the choice of ground beef. Here I have my preferred mixture, which is ground chuck with a high fat content and ground sirloin with a lesser fat content. The sirloin will add meaty flavor, and the chuck will add juiciness and richness to the burger. I like to combine these in a 2-to-1 chuck to sirloin ratio. So here I will combine 1 pound of the chuck with a ½ pound of the sirloin. I'll toss the other half of the sirloin in a bag and throw it in the fridge for some other dish later this week. In the written recipe, I've doubled this for round numbers' sake. In the bowl, gently combine the two meats. You're going to want to kind of crumble them together. Break them up with your hands and gently mix the two. You shouldn't be squishing the meat into a big mass, but rather separating the chunks and letting them combine with others. I know this is a convoluted explanation, but trust me, you don't want to overwork the meat, as that's a sure way to get tough patties. Once the ground meats have been mixed, gently form them into roughly 6-ounce balls. For this much beef, this will make 4 of these. This is somewhere between 1/3 and 1/2 pound per burger. Once you have them portioned out, take one in your hands and gently press it into a patty shape. You're aiming for 1 to 2 inches wider than your hamburger buns and roughly 1 inch thick at the edges. In the center, you're going to want to press a small divot, about half the thickness of the edge of the patty. This will help avoid the meatball effect, where the burgers swell in the middle while cooking, making them difficult to eat without all the toppings falling off. Once formed, set the patties aside while you prepare the other toppings. To skip to where I cook the patties, go to this timestamp. Now, I like to have sliced tomato on my burgers. Here in the Midwest, we're in the tail end of tomato season, so I really should have a fresh local grown tomato, but instead I have this store-bought thing. Oh well. Just slice that into thin strips. You don't need to use a serrated knife on tomatoes as long as the edge on your kitchen knife is sharp enough. I also like a little lettuce. Here I have some romaine that I'm going to break into roughly bun-sized pieces. The only other thing I'm going to prep is a little burger sauce. I've detailed this elsewhere, but this is my preferred formula. Equal parts ketchup and mayo, a quick glug of Worcestershire sauce, and a sprinkle of garlic powder. And mix it well. Make sure to taste for seasoning. If there's a large amount of people, I think it's better to have a wide array of condiments available, and people can add what they want to their burgers. But if it's just you and a loved one, a burger sauce can really simplify the burger making process. For my side dish, I'm going to have some sweet potato fries. Now, these typically don't get very crispy in the air fryer, so I like to help them out by coating them in a cornstarch slurry. For 2 servings of fries, I'm going to mix 1 tablespoon of cornstarch with a tablespoon of water. Once fully incorporated, just pour that over the fries and toss to coat. Once done, I'm just going to toss these in the air fryer and cook according to the package instructions. Back at the stove, it's time to cook the beef patties. Take a large heat-resistant pan, here I have cast iron, and turn the burner to medium-high. Add 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil to the pan and swirl to coat the bottom. Note, your stovetop will be slightly different from mine, so you may have to adjust up or down depending on your results. After a minute or so, the olive oil will start to smoke gently. This is a sign that your pan is at the optimum temperature for these burgers, about 400 degrees. Go ahead and gently set in your burger patties. Now, I let this pan get a little hot, as you can see from all the sputtering, so I lowered the heat to medium. To the patties, I like to sprinkle on some salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Now is as good a time as any to warn you that this will smoke up your kitchen, so if you have a hood fan over the stove or some windows, go ahead and open those and get some of that smoke out. Otherwise, you are certain to set off your smoke alarm. Anyway, after about 4 minutes, depending on the exact heat of your stovetop, you should start to see the sides of the patties slowly turning gray. Once they are visibly half cooked, flip them. There should be a visibly charred layer on the top of the patties. I like to add some salt and pepper at this point. The second side does not need to go on for nearly as long as the first, about 2 minutes or so. until the interior measures your preferred doneness. I like to aim for between 150 and 155 degrees, medium well, especially if I'm using store-bought ground beef. Once nearly done, throw on a slice of cheese if desired. My favorite is pepper jack, but here I'm using some American pasteurized prepared cheese product because that's what I have and it's about half the calories per slice. Anyway, just let that melt and the burgers are done. To assemble, take a toasted bun and add a bit of that burger sauce to both sides. Lay on the burger patty, a slice of tomato. I'm adding some pickles, the lettuce, and that is done. To go with that, here are my sweet potato fries with a bit of ketchup. Now that is a very familiar tasting, classic hamburger. It's nice and juicy in the middle with a crusty exterior that competes with the best flame-grilled burger out there. And those sweet potato fries really do go with it well. I do recommend the cornstarch trick as it solves the only real problem I've had with sweet potatoes, that being that they don't crisp up really at all. Regardless, this is a great burger, and I heartily recommend you try this out. And I hope this has been of some help to you. As you can probably tell by the sweet potato fries, I'm no longer strictly following the keto diet, though I did have a keto hamburger bun in this video. I've shifted my diet in the last week or so as I'm trying to gain muscle while I lose weight, and carbs help provide some extra energy. Regardless, next time I hope to share with you a recipe for deli-style roast beef. Thank you.